from yesterday about parallel lines. What can you tell me about the slopes of parallel lines? They're the same. Very good. And so today we're going to talk about perpendicular lines, and perpendicular lines are a little different than parallel lines. They are lines that intersect at right angles. So when you think of a perpendicular line, I want you to think about the streets in town or in any town. Okay? When the streets in any town intersect, that intersection is perpendicular most of the time. I understand, in Lincoln, some of those places, they don't have right angle intersections. But for the most part, at least in our town, they are intersected in right angles in both of our two communities. And so vertical lines and horizontal lines are perpendicular. Those are like the streets that we were talking about. And if you notice here, the other quote, if the product of the slopes of two non-vertical lines is -1, then the lines are perpendicular. Okay, so that's kind of confusing. So the way I like to remember perpendicular lines is down here. Perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals of each other. Okay, so what does that exactly mean? Well, let's say, for example, I had a line, and it had a slope of 2/3. Okay? What would the reciprocal of 2/3 be? The reciprocal would be 3/2, right? And so the negative reciprocal is going to be -3/2. And so if two lines have these slopes, they are perpendicular. Or slopes like that. I could have another one. But that's an example of what a negative reciprocal is. And so let's go ahead and look at this example here. It says, write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 4, 7 and is perpendicular to the graph of y equals 1/3 x minus 5. So once again, if you were taking notes, I would put find slope-intercept form, and then I would put the point 4, 7, and then perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x minus 5. So not having to write everything out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start with is just like what I started with yesterday. Perpendicular to this line. So what is the slope of that line that I just highlighted? 1/3. So if it's perpendicular, it's going to be the negative reciprocal of that. Okay, so what is the negative reciprocal of 1/3? -3/1, but let's simplify that because we know that anything divided by 1 is just the number itself. So the slope here will be -3. So this says slope-intercept form, so I'm going to go ahead and start with y equals mx plus b. And what am I going to substitute in? Yep, good. -3x plus b. And then now to find what b is, what am I going to need to do? Plug in the 4, 7. Perfect. Good job. So 7 goes in for y, 4 goes in for x. And this is nothing new. We've already done this before. The only thing different is the slope. So 7 equals 12 plus b. -12, yep, good call because I forgot that negative sign there. Okay, because it should be -3 times 4, so -12 plus b. And then what do I do to solve for b? Add 12. So what do I get b to equal? 19. So I'm going to go up here to this equation, and I'm going to plug in 19 for b. And there you go. Questions? This is the same steps that we went through yesterday. The only thing different is we're having to adjust the slope a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at another one. Okay, same thing. We've just got two different things. We have a different point and a different line. So, what's different about the equation of this line?
X and Y are on the same.
X and Y are on the same because we start with this equation right here, but we don't easily know the slope because this is not in slope-intercept form. So what we're going to need to do is solve this equation for Y. Put it in slope-intercept form. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. So here I get 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. What am I going to do now? Not yet. What do I have to do? Divide by 3. Good. So I get y to equal negative 2/3 x plus what? 4. So what is the slope of this line? Negative 2/3. I want the slope of a line that's perpendicular to that. And what would the slope of a line that's perpendicular to that be? 3/2. It's going to be the negative reciprocal. So it's going to be the negative flip of 2/3. And so now I'm going to go ahead and start with my equation. My equation is going to be y equals 3/2 x plus b. What do I do now? Yep, so I'm going to plug in negative 4, and I'm going to plug in positive 6. So 6 equals, what is 3/2 times negative 4? 12/2, which is actually, okay, negative 6. So how do I solve that for b? Add 6. Nice job. So 6 plus 6 is, so now I'm going to go ahead and plug that in right here. So y equals 3/2 x plus 12. Questions? All right, we've got a new question we've got to answer. Determine whether the graphs of 6x minus 2y equals negative 2 and y equals 3x minus 4 are parallel or perpendicular. Determine whether the graphs of 6x minus 2y equals negative 2 and y equals 3x minus 4 are parallel or perpendicular, and then explain. So do you see what I did now? I just brought down those two graphs, or two lines, sorry. And now what I'm going to do is find the slope of each of those lines, and then I'm going to compare the numbers. Should be pretty straightforward. How do I find the slope of 6x minus 2y equals negative 2? Yep, so I've got to go ahead and get y all by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6x. So I end up getting negative 2y equals negative 6x minus 2. What do I do now? Divide by negative 2. And so y equals what? 3x plus 1. So now it's in slope-intercept form. What is the slope of this line? 3. So now this second equation is a little nicer because what form is this in? Slope-intercept. So what is the slope? 3. So now I need to compare the two numbers in the aqua color. What do you notice about those two numbers? They're the same. So what can you conclude about the lines? They're parallel. Now they want you to explain. So the reason why they're parallel is they have the same slope. And there you go. That's it. Questions? All right, let's look at this one. Same type of problem. We have 4x plus y equals negative 2, and y equals 1/4 x plus 3. So what do I need to do? Find the slope. So how do I find the slope of the first one here? Subtract 4x. Nice job. So what do I get y to equal? Minus 2. Very good. So now I need to figure out what is the slope of this equation. Negative 4. Nice job. What do you know about the slope of the second equation? It's 1/4. So now I need to compare the two. What do you know about this number and this number? They're the reciprocals, and they're also the negative reciprocals. So therefore the lines are perpendicular. Now, it wants you to explain. So explain, this is what you do. Slopes are negative, I'm just going to abbreviate neg, reciprocals. And that would be good. All right, we have one more to look at. One more, same type of problem. Determine whether the graphs of 5x minus y equals 0 and y equals 2x plus 3 are parallel or perpendicular. So I would like you to go ahead and do this on your own and come up with a conclusion. So you go through, you solve this problem, and then tell me what you come up with.
Can y be a negative if it's a
No. You have to get rid of that negative sign. Okay, I've already been looking around. What'd you get for the slope on your first one? 5. Okay, what'd you get for your slope on your next one? 2. So what can you conclude? It's not parallel or perpendicular, so in other words, it's neither. And there you go. Nope. Well, I mean, if it's neither, you know it's not the same, and the slopes aren't negative reciprocals of each other, so you're good. So questions. Biggest thing you need to remember about today, perpendicular lines, the slopes are negative reciprocals. Good. Good job. Okay, so here you go. This is what I need you to add to your assignment from yesterday. Okay, 23 through 38. And so you should add this. I think the assignment yesterday was like 11 through 16. Okay, so go ahead and add those. Due Monday.